Good morning. Welcome to the DFS Army YouTube channel. I am Razzle11, and you can find me on Twitter at Razzle11Grinds. Going to take a look at some action for today, Wednesday, the 14th of June. We have a 3-game early slate and then a 12-game main slate. I haven't had a chance to look at some weather here. I'll bring it up on my other screen. Mostly going to focus here on the 12-game main slate. Might just glance at the 3-gamer. By the looks of it, most weather should be fine. Maybe some rain in Boston, um, but the game should play out normally. Nothing really standing out from a weather or a wind standpoint either. So, um, now we have that out of the way. Let's take a look at the main action. Garrett Cole certainly in play. Hasn't been as strong on the road. Hasn't been, I guess, elite over his last handful of starts. Um, Actually hasn't gone above 21 DK points now since the end of April. Over a month and a half. That's it's a little rough, but the overall Mets lineup isn't all that dangerous. I know they just lit up Severino. Last night's game had a lot more runs on it than could have thought, but uh, Cole's going to be a perfectly fine option. Not really sure if I want to pay 11K for the current version of Garrett Cole, uh, but he is going to start the day out in my pitcher pool. But he certainly could be somebody that moves out of it at this point. He looks like it is a coin toss right now, and the game is a 7.5 total. So it'll be interesting to see where the line moves throughout the day. Kershaw has been spectacular at home, like absolutely spectacular. Uh, K numbers are really strong, which is great to see for Kershaw. I'm going to be all about him against the White Sox. He is a minus 285 favorite, which surprisingly is the second highest on the slate, behind Tyler Glasnow at 292. So, Kershaw back to back 30 plus performances. Uh, Struggled a bit with Tampa Bay, struggled with St. Louis on the road, but definitely Clayton Kershaw, um, probably my preferred option of the spend ups. I think more people are going to look for, Luis Castillo, Framber Valdez. I'm going to go with Kershaw as of right now as my top spend up option. Certainly could change as we see lineups and uh, I dig into more and more of the individual matchups. But Framber Valdez, strong option against a weak Washington squad, a minus 260 favorite. We do have some large favorites on this slate. Hasn't been as strong at home, but still spectacular. Does have a complete game shutout at home. Has a losing record at home, which is shocking for somebody like Framber Valdez. Walks have jumped up a little bit in 2 of his last 3 starts. A little worrisome. Gets an extra day of rest before taking on Washington. Uh, kind of reset. It's just a great spot overall um, for Framber. So no debates at all. And if Kershaw wasn't at home, Framber probably would be, 1A, maybe 1B on the slate for me. But he's definitely ahead of Garrett Cole right now for me. Luis Castillo, minus 190 favorite. I really like this pitching matchup with Yuri Perez. Uh, Castillo at home, phenomenal. As we've seen, the last 3 pitchers. Well, Framber's been decent, but like with Kershaw, just elite performances at home. Uh, Being comfortable is key for starting pitching. Uh, Coming off a not the best start, but he still struck out 10. Fantasy point performances were strong. It's just his actual performance on the mound wasn't the best. Prior to that, he had been absolutely rolling. So uh, look for Castillo to continue it against a weak Miami squad. Now I do need to dig into the weather in Wrigley. Wind playing such a huge factor. Uh, Mitch Keller looked like he had hit the struggle bus and then he bounced back last time out against the Mets. I don't, I don't really know why he's listed here. I don't expect him to start looking at it. I'm gonna have to dig in a little bit more now because I don't believe he will start. So we're gonna skip over Mitch Keller. I don't know why DK would have him listed as probable when he just threw on Sunday. He's not pitching on 2 days rest. I will promise you that. Merrill Kelly, strong upside. Uh, if he avoids home runs and some walks, he's got some great numbers at home. Taking on Philadelphia, who put up a ton of runs last night. Uh, it's a volatile matchup, but I think there's upside enough to keep him in my pitcher pool. He's going to kind of be on the lower tier, kind of as if I were to guess 10 to 15% play for me tonight. But we do have all day to figure these things out. Tyler Glasnow taking on the suddenly hot Oakland squad. K's have come down a little bit since his electric return, but he's been so strong. Walks are a worry, but as I mentioned earlier, just a massive favorite. I'm not afraid of Oakland. I know Twitter's going nuts because Oakland's won 7 games in a row or whatever. Uh, that 7 game win streak has moved them from the worst record in baseball to the second worst behind the Royals, I believe. Uh, so let's just not overdo it at this point. Um, and trust Glass now and his elite upside. Yuri Perez, like you mentioned, I really like this matchup for pitching. Uh, Seattle has put up a few runs this week, but Perez has been really good. His K numbers just haven't been explosive yet. There are some walk issues, so I think he's just kind of a sprinkle in 10 to 15% play for me, but I'm going to have a hard time removing him from my pool, but he is going to be on kind of that cut line from me making a decision. As I pointed out before, I really like to finish, my pitcher pool with 6 to 8 pitchers on a main slate. So once I get above 8, I kind of freak out because I just feel like I'm spreading myself too much. So Jose Barrios has really turned it on since a terrible start to the year. K numbers are down a little bit. Walks are back up. I don't think I'm going to go with him against Baltimore. Uh, I know Baltimore scored some runs last night, but prior to that, Baltimore had been struggling a bit, but I just don't think I'm going to get to Barrios on this slate. I see why Keller's up here because they just have everybody from Pittsburgh. Um, Andrew Haney not going to make it for me. He's been lit up in Texas. Uh, I just don't really trust him. The Angels lineup is pretty dangerous. His K numbers have come down after his early season explosions. He's just not a guy that I use. And I'm really fine if he beats me on a given slate. So Haney's not going to make it for me. Waka is going to be in play. Looked really strong. 5 straight starts, 6 straight, 7 straight. Sorry. I know Cleveland doesn't strike out a ton, but they are a weak offense, and Waka has thrown the ball really well in San Diego. A little more expensive than I'd really like. I like him in the 7K range, but 82 is not terrible at all. So he's certainly in play for me. Going down a bit, Verlander probably has to be in play. It's been solid in New York. Home runs are an issue. I I just don't really like seeing these. K numbers are down, but that Yankees lineup is pretty ugly without Judge in it. Kind of alternated strong starts with bad starts over his last 4, 5. Um, I think he's certainly in play, but he's really on the fringe for me. I don't know. I don't really like the way he's thrown overall, but maybe we do have to consider Verlander. Savali not really going to make my pool. Uh, really no K upside. I'm not going to pick on San Diego. At some point they're going to start hitting, I believe. So not really an option for me. Drew Smiley probably not going to be in play. But again, when I was talking earlier about Pittsburgh pitching, uh, I really need to see what the wind is like in Wrigley at this point. Um, I don't see a Vegas line where I'm looking right now, but that might have something to do with the Pittsburgh pitching situation. No thanks on Reed Detmers. Garrett Whitlock, certainly an option. Taking on a weaker Colorado team, I worry about him just staying healthy as being the key one, but he's always flashed some big time stuff. I think he's certainly in play at a minus 240 favorite in that game. Uh, Not really interested in much, as we go down, and then we get into Pittsburgh. So that's kind of where I'm at from the main slate pitching. Like you said, 6 to 8 guys is my target. Uh, there's a handful at the top, some mediocre guys in the middle, and then not really anything at the bottom other than Whitlock for me. Maybe Ben Lively, who had been throwing the ball decent prior to his last 2 starts. Uh, I just don't think I'm going to go to a pitcher in that game. It is a pick 'em right now. Total at 9.5. I know Daniel Lynch helped win me that 50K, but I don't know if that I'm going with him against Cincinnati right now. I think there are just better options, such as Whitlock, on that slate. Quick look at the early 3-gamer. Spencer Strider, for sure. I mean, against Detroit, yes, please. Bailey Ober against the Brewers, for sure. An option for me. We just saw Pablo Lopez strike out a ton last night. Colin Ray, even though I don't really like him all that much, the K boost he gets in this matchup is intriguing enough, and he's thrown the ball decent enough over his last handful of starts that I suppose he should be an option for us. I really think everybody minus Lorenzen is probably an option. DeSclafani has been really good on the road, was strong against St. Louis in his one matchup. Hasn't been the greatest over his last handful of starts. The strikeouts just haven't been there, which is a worrisome. Jordan Montgomery against San Francisco, who has been weaker against left-handed pitching. He shut them down in his first meeting with them, coming off of a great start. Probably should be used a decent chunk. But like I said, being a 3-gamer, you can use pretty much everybody. I'm not using Lorenzen. He's had some strong starts recently. I'm not using a pitcher against Atlanta. So there you have it. There's a look at the pitching options. If you like what I bring to you, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn the notification bell on. Get that alert anytime we drop a video here at DFS Army. And if you want to join us, I'll put links in the description below. You can use promo code RAZ, that's RAZ, for 10% off. And as always, best of luck, everybody.